Just put it back in an appropriate location.
I know, but it's red.
Okay, so this will then go to your computer.
We are ready. Good. Very good. We are good. Good. We're good. Yep.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this North Caucasus Parks and Recreation District Board of Directors meeting on October 29th, 2025. District Administrator Gary Clinton, please call the roll for us.
Yes, Chair Roberts, we're going to project tonight. I'll first introduce our staff support. I'm Gary Schmidt, the District Administrator, Clerk to the Board, Andrew Jiraki, District Director, Chiaselli, District Counsel, Jeff Munns, roll call, Director West.
Here.
Director Schrader.
Here.
Director Helm. Director Savas. Chair Roberts.
Here. You can imagine we have some sound issues, so we're all going to talk really quick. So with that being said, thank you, and would you please stand and join me in my pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right, well, now I'm opening the meeting for public communication, comments, testimony limited to 3 minutes per person. I'd ask your comments to be respectful, please. As a reminder, you can also email comments to bcc@clackamas.us, and these will be accepted as a part of our public record. I will take in-person testimony first. I will turn to our clerk. Please help moderate the in-person and virtual testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have a microphone that will be available for the public to use. I'll place in the testimony stand shortly. This is a reminder that if you would like to speak tonight during public communication and you have not yet done so, to please fill out a blue card, which can be found on the desk at the center aisle, deposit it in the box, and staff will bring it to me. I will call on them in the order that they are received. When I call your name, please come forward, introduce yourself, and you'll have 3 minutes. First up, Grover Bornfeld. Grover Bornfeld, come forward, please. You'll have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Board Chair and all. My name is Grover Bornfeld, and I live in unincorporated Clackamas County for the last 34 years. And I'm actually kind of thrilled to be here. We are on a roll with accomplishment. I saw all of y'all at the opening dedication of the park, the library, and the community center. And tonight, looking at your agenda, we're gonna get the system plan, which we've been working on for, I don't know, 3-4 years, talking longer than that, spent $500,000-ish on it. And we finally have a guidepost as far as where we're going and what we're gonna get done. And I think that will help us a lot making choices going forward. And also tonight, we're asking you to agree on the update on the bylaws. We've done a lot of work by the district advisory committee members, and we have great alignment behind that, so thank you for that. Also understand the funding, future funding is going to be on the docket, and if y'all remember, you hired a guy named Clark Worth, and he made a presentation. I was inspired by that, only in that he took what everyone said they wanted, came up with a strategy, what it would cost, and then you go out and tell people, if you want this, this is what it would cost, as opposed to our woes. I mean, it is inspiring people to move forward, and the bad news is every other district has got their own going on now, so it's the timing issue. So I think we have the things in place, and I really appreciate that we're moving forward on that. And the last thing is the process of how the two community centers and the people that support them are going to work together. It's in a creeping motion at the moment, but I would love for y'all to actually authorize a task force to have residents from the people from the Milwaukee Community Center Board, people from the District Advisory Committee, other appropriate people, so we can look at what the needs are and actually move forward to start looking at how, now we have two resources. How can we have that meet the need that is beyond what's currently being had in today's world? So those are the things, but it's just really, it's like, for some of us, this has been decades of work to be here to celebrate these things. Most of them were significant uphill, 2 steps backwards, 1 step forward accomplishments, and I'm here to thank you all for your part in it, and looking forward to more wins. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Dave Cadwallader. Dave Cadwallader, please come forward. You'll have 3 minutes.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Dave Cadwallader. I'm a resident of Milwaukee. I'm here today to call for cooperation, transparency, and urgency to finish building Milwaukee Bay Park. All of us are tired of gridlock, and I came across a quote from F. Scott Fitzgerald that reminded me why many of us still show up even when it seems like nothing can be done. I must hold and balance the sense of the futility of effort and the sense of the necessity to struggle, the conviction of the inevitability of failure, and still the determination to succeed. I share this tonight because it captures where many of us find ourselves, disillusioned with years of stalled progress, yet optimistic that we can still see Milwaukee Bay Park realize its true potential. Tonight, I'm calling for accountability from this board, but also asking you to join me in that same spirit of determination to succeed. Over the past several months, the City of Milwaukee and NCPRD staff have demonstrated what collaboration can look like. They met again and again to collaborate on a reasonable compromise to end this stalemate and get the park built. Together, they completed a joint proposal that both sides felt addressed their goals. But the actions of this board on October 21st undid much of that progress. Not even in writing, but with a phone call, this board erased months of collaborative staff work and replaced it with a proposal for the city to separate from NCPRD. That was never the goal of these negotiations. This erodes public trust, and it's deeply disrespectful to the city employees and to your own NCPRD staff who spent months negotiating in good faith. You said that transparency is one of your guiding values. I ask you to please live up to that. The city has publicly shared all of its communications and made good faith efforts to address the concerns of this board, including the frequently cited concern about stranded assets. This board owes the same transparency in return to the city, to the district staff, and most of all to the residents who fund and depend on these parks. It's time to end these closed-door meetings and the erratic last-minute moving of the goalposts. Tonight, I urge you to honor the hard work already done, to return to open collaboration with the city leaders and staff, share your communications publicly and in writing, sign the joint proposal that your own staff worked so hard to create, and to give the community confidence that this partnership still has integrity. Milwaukee Bay Park holds so much untapped potential to strengthen the social and economic fabric of Clackamas County. So I ask you, will you choose the inevitability of failure or the determination to succeed? Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Lisa Lashbrook. Lisa Lashbrook, please come forward. Introduce yourself. You'll have 3 minutes.
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Lisa Lashbrook. I was deeply disappointed and shocked to hear that you have directed NCPRD to convey to the city of Milwaukee city manager, mayor, and council that you are supportive of beginning separation proceedings. My hope is that instead you will agree to the terms laid out by council in their October 23rd letter. After nearly a year of negotiations with some not inconsequential concessions by the city of Milwaukee, it appeared that things were back on track to continue the relationship with the county and get Milwaukee Bay Park built. In 2017, the county asked to be the lead on the Milwaukee Bay Park project, and it's time to make good on that promise. Anything less is like Lucy once again pulling the football away from Charlie Brown. I have given a lot of my time to educating, promoting, and fundraising for Milwaukee's parks, having served 8 years on the Parks and Recreation Board for the city of Milwaukee and as a founding member of the Milwaukee Parks Foundation. I urge you to do the right thing by agreeing to the terms and completing the regional asset that is Milwaukee Bay Park. Thank you for your consideration of my comments.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, Hamid Shibata Bennett. Hamid Shibata Bennett, please come forward. You'll have 3 minutes.
Howdy, y'all. Some of you might know me. I work for you. I'm a photographer for North Clackamas Parks and Rec District and also for the city of Milwaukee. And with this rift going on right now, I feel like a kid at a family home that where the parents are fighting. And I just want you all to get along. As a photographer, I've gotten to document so many events, including, I remember the open house at Milwaukee Bay Park, where we invited the public to come and people were, and friends and families were putting stickers on the park amenities they wanted to see. And I just felt like we were working in good faith all together as community. And I just want to reinforce that we are all in this same community together. Milwaukee Bay Park has always been thought of as like the living room of the region. It's not just for Milwaukee, but people from all over North Clackamas utilize the park, and it'd be really swell to see it developed like we had been moving forward with all this momentum. And I'd just like to express, it was profoundly disappointing to see that we lost what, like 1.9 million to develop this park. I feel like we can do better. Anyways, that's all I got. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Laura Jenks. Laura Jenks, please come forward, introduce yourself. You'll have 3 minutes.
So thank you so much to the board. My name is Laura Jenks. I am the chair of new chair of Milwaukee Parks and Recreation Board. It's my first time making a public statement today. My voice is shaking. I moved to the city of Milwaukee in 2019, and at the time I was pregnant, and I remember seeing signs in businesses that said "Bring play to Milwaukee Bay." I was so excited to play with my son in this new park. While we've enjoyed the park, we haven't enjoyed it in a way that we were promised. My son turns 6 tomorrow, and I'd really like to play with him at Milwaukee Bay Park before he's too old. So on behalf of Milwaukee Park, we urge the board to accept the terms proposed in the Milwaukee City Council's letter from October 23rd. The result of more than 10 months of negotiation and finalize a deal as soon as possible to get this park built. Yes, I will play in it. Sorry. The district asked to lead this project in 2017, and it's time that the promises are delivered. As some of the other people have stated, I was very disappointed to hear that we were asked for this separation. And Milwaukee does not want the separation. We are paying taxes and SDCs to the district, and it's not what we're calling for. We want to get this project done. What was just said about it is the living room. It's not just Milwaukee. Everyone can enjoy this park, and we should also be looking at that. And last thing was asking to make the response public to this letter that was written from the Milwaukee City Council. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Jacob Sherman. Jacob Sherman, please come forward. You'll have 3 minutes.
Good evening, NCPRD Board of Directors. For the record, my name is Jacob Sherman. I'm a resident of Milwaukee, where I also have the pleasure of serving on our Planning Commission. Also want to be clear that I'm an NCPRD taxpayer. I have a bill for $99.23, and all of my other fellow Milwaukeeans are also paying similar rates to the Parks District that we are a part of. I'm here tonight to ask you to work with the city of Milwaukee to build Milwaukee Bay Park. Why? First, Milwaukee Bay Park is clearly a regional asset. It is the #1 most visited outdoor park in our Parks District. It's a regional asset that serves more than Milwaukee. This is evidenced by all the people that responded to the survey, asking the project be moved from the midterm, 5 to 10 years into the future, to the near term in order to follow through on promises that have been previously made. It's also clearly a regional asset, because when you go down there on a summer afternoon, the parking lot is full of boats and trailers and those kinds of things. Milwaukee does not have a boat shop, does not have a boat maintenance facility. There is no way that all of those boats are only coming from Milwaukee. Pretty plain and simple. Second, I'm here to ask you to continue to work with the city because you made a promise to do so. I believe Commissioner Salas might have been the only person on the commission at that time. But as was noted, NCPRD asked to develop the park in 2017. There's been 8 years of no action. And as a fellow testifier just said, I've also got to watch a toddler now turn into an almost 10-year-old without a park. And if we stick on the 5 to 10 year horizon, he'll probably be in college before we even break ground. During that time, we've seen inflation costs increase. We've seen the district lose $2.5 million in grant funds, which is a huge waste of taxpayer resources. And that really shows you all are not being a good steward of resources. So why does this matter to you? This matters because you're going to be talking tonight about the basic insolvency that the district is almost facing in the next few years. And it's clear that you need voter support now more than ever. But based on the relationship with voters in the city of Milwaukee, you need our support. And that's clear because in 2014, when you tried to reformulate the district and ask for a tax increase, the only place that voted yes was the city of Milwaukee. So how are you going to do this without us? If NCPRD wants support from Milwaukee voters to raise our taxes for our parks, then you need to stop it with the broken promises. Stop playing political games and let's work together in good faith to build Milwaukee Bay Park. Voters care. We're paying attention and we look forward to your response to our city council's letter. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, Mark Elliott. Mark Elliott, please come forward. And this is a final reminder, if you've not yet done so and you would like to speak during public communication, to please fill out a blue card and deposit in the basket that can be found by the desk in the center aisle. Thank you very much, Mr. Elliott. Please proceed.
Thank you, Andrew. My name is Mark Elliott. I'm a resident of Oak Grove. And also happen to be vice chair of the District Advisory Committee for NCPRD. So I'm kind of here in both capacities. So I'm just going to read what I put together. That's probably better than me trying to ad-lib it. So during the City of Milwaukee City Council meeting of Tuesday, October 21st, negotiations between NCPRD and the city regarding completion of Milwaukee Bay Park were made public. The discussion and subsequent letter from the city to the board revealed a proposal for the city of Milwaukee to take over the Milwaukee Bay project from NCPRD, including the responsibility for its maintenance and repair. I wish to express my support for this proposal and recommend to the board of directors that you pursue 2 specific actions. First, you should finalize an intergovernmental agreement that transfers responsibility of the Milwaukee Bay Park from North Clackamas Parks District to the city of Milwaukee. The agreement should reflect an equitable valuation of Metro share dollars allocated to the project proportionate to the city's representation within the district's population. Second, the board should create a separation agreement that clearly defines the ownership and financial responsibilities of both parties regarding district assets located within the Milwaukee area upon separation. Given the district's financial obligation to the project and the potential impact of the validation petition currently before the Court of Appeals regarding separation, these 2 initiatives must be executed simultaneously to protect the district's assets. As clearly communicated to the city by the county's council letter of November 24th, 2024, failing to do so would expose the district to significant financial losses, not unlike those faced when the city of Happy Valley withdrew. Regardless of personal feelings, it should not be a surprise to anyone that such agreements are not only wise, but indispensable to think otherwise would be naive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chair, I received no more blue cards from anyone attending in person who wishes to speak tonight. So with your permission, I'd like to move to those attending virtually. If you're attending this meeting virtually and wish to speak, this is your opportunity to please raise your hand and I will call on you in the order that I see. Jeanette DeCastro, you'll have 3 minutes.
Hello, good evening. My name is Jeanette DeCastro.
Ms.
I'm
DeCastro, I'll just have you pause for a second. Please proceed.
Thank you. Jeanette DeCastro. I'm in sub-area 3 of the North Clackamas Parks and Rec District, and I'm sorry, I'm over at Rock Creek Middle School, a little busy at the moment, but I wanted to say 4 quick things tonight. The first is I'm delighted that the system plan is in front of our board of directors. Really glad at the robust work on the plan. Very satisfied with the public outreach, excited that it's before you. Please vote yes on adopting it. The second is I'm very supportive of researching future revenue sources and resources for our district. That dovetails into my third thing, which is I wanted to attend the Boo Bash last weekend, but unfortunately wasn't able to, and saw online that it was very, very popular. And in fact, I don't think everybody who wanted to go was able to attend. And fourth, I know there's a lot of opinions and emotions around Milwaukee Bay Park. I want to also share that I'm really excited about the property at 70th and Monroe in NCPRD. We have some areas of our district that are very low in parks. And I hope we can find a way for a good both and. I really like the metaphor of trying to come together on this. So thank you very much. And I'll leave it here for tonight, but really excited about the system plan. Take care.
Thank you very much, Ms. DeCastro. This is a final call. If you're attending this meeting virtually and wish to speak, to please raise your hand and I will call on you in the order that I see. Mr. Chair, I see no other members of the public either physically or virtually present this evening that wish to speak during general public comment.
Thank you. I will now close the public comment portion. We'll move on. Gary, what is next?
Thank you, Chair. Next is a presentation, a report from the Chair of the District Advisory Committee for the Parks District. The Chair is Sheila Shaw. Ms. Shaw, if you please come forward and present.
Director Roberts and all of the board of directors for North Clackamas Parks and Recreation. Thank you for this opportunity to address you. I'd like to talk about 3 things in my very short comments tonight. The bylaw changes, the system. Sorry. That was not me, by the way.
It was precarious.
Yeah, okay. Could have mentioned that.
Yeah.
Okay, the bylaw changes, the system plan, and NCPRD community centers. So the bylaw changes were unanimously approved by the DAC at our last meeting. We're especially excited about the possibility of having alternates. Alternates will support our continued work in the events of absences and will also increase our presence in and representation of the residents. The more people that we have directly involved in meeting in NCPRD, the better. As far as the system plan goes, the majority of DAC members approved the adoption of the system plan. This plan includes input from the DAC and the community. The document speaks to the health of NCPRD as a whole. We are a large district, and the ideas contained can be used to inspire our community. We are hoping for your approval on that tonight. Thirdly, the opening of Concord Community Center was incredibly well attended. Kudos to everyone who's a part of this happening. I was not able to be present, but I have heard of the difference the center is going to make for that community. Communities need places and reasons to gather. Parks and recreation districts provide both for us. The existence of this center is a huge win. With the North Parks, so we have a long name, with the North Plaquemine Parks and Recreation District now having 2 community centers, we are provided with additional opportunities to cooperate and to collaborate in providing opportunities to a broader area of our residents. We're stronger when we all pull and work together. And I hope this is what we're going to do. Thanks for letting me speak tonight. And sorry if there was any damage to your speaker.
Before you leave, do any of the fellow directors have any questions or comments? Well, thank you. So I'm going to turn to Gary and to what's next.
Thank you, Chair. Next are several board discussion items. A few of them are asking for action on your part. The first is action item, approval of 2025 system plan for the district. There is a financial impact, but that's over time as you actually formally adopt programs, and that's through your budget process. There are no county general funds involved with any of these projects. Kia Selly and her team will present. Kia, if you'd introduce your team, please.
Thank you so much, Gary, Chair Roberts, and directors. We are so pleased this evening to present the system plan. As you recall, we have not had an approved plan since 2004. So this truly is a momentous occasion, and this will help us direct our limited resources to the most strategic investments that the community wants and needs. And with those short remarks, I will turn it to Erin Riom, Planning and Development Director for NCPRD, for a more complete presentation.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Director Selly, and thank you, Chair Roberts and directors for taking the time this evening to consider approval of the 2025 system plan. As Kia mentioned, this plan has been a long time in the making. Completing a comprehensive long-range plan like this is always a significant accomplishment for an organization. In this case, it's particularly momentous because the last plan was adopted in 2004, over 20 years ago. An effort was made to update the plan in 2015, but that was never finalized due to changes in the district boundary. The 2025 NCPRD system plan began with approval of consultant contract in December of 2023. At a policy session on October 7th, just earlier this month, staff presented a detailed outline of the plan contents and the community feedback that we received. So I'm going to keep my presentation this evening fairly brief and just hit on a few of the highlights. The 2025 NCPRD system plan brings together extensive community engagement and really robust data assessment in order to provide a 20-year vision and a roadmap to implement that vision for the district moving forward. Well over 3,000 residents contributed directly to the formation of the plan, and NCPRD's District Advisory Committee was integral to the creation of the plan every step along the way. The consultant team for the system plan conducted extensive data assessment to better understand where park deficient areas are located and how those park deficient areas align with areas of high community need. Community feedback and the assessment work that was performed and completed by the consultant team directly informed a refined vision, mission, and 4 key themes that will guide NCPRD's work moving forward. Those 4 key themes are to care for and invest in parks and recreation, connect to nature, play for all, and enrich our community. And based on the feedback that we've received from community members who were in attendance at the grand opening celebration from Concord, what I've heard is that people felt like all 4 of those were on full display at that event, which is really exciting. These 4 themes are each supported by a series of goals and action items. The plan also includes a list of capital improvement projects and their recommended sequencing. This list will help staff prioritize improvements and new development projects across the district based on need and based on the equitable distribution of resources. These projects are divided into 3 sequencing buckets: short-term projects, 0 to 5 years, mid-term projects, 5 to 10 years, and long-term projects that are 10 years and beyond. Because this is an area where a long-range plan like this becomes really tangible, maybe even personal for a lot of people, I do want to reiterate the 5 core criteria that were used by the consultant team in order to make the recommendations for project sequencing. And those were capital repair and replacement needs at existing parks and facilities. So where we have aging infrastructure and equipment that really needs to be addressed. Frequency of use and demand, equitable geographic distribution of improvements and new park development across the district, staff assessments of facilities and park conditions. This looked not only at the general condition of parks, but also at the level of development that are in parks and the number and type of amenities that are provided. And then finally, community navigator evaluations that were based on site observations made at each of our parks and facilities. These looked at things like ease of access, safety, and comfort, really the feel and appeal of each one of our parks and facilities. So based on these 5 core criteria, the consultant team recommendations for short-term projects are replacement of the aquatic park roof, that's well underway. Improvements at both North Clackamas and Risley Parks, where there are known high priority needs on our capital repair and replace list. Improvements to the Oak Bluff Trail, where similarly there are some high priority maintenance needs. And then finally, new development projects at the park at Jennings Lodge campus. Design on that has been underway for quite some time. In fact, the design is nearing completion, and we're on track for construction in spring of 2026. Development of a park at the Justice property. This is a project that has been on NCPRD's project list for quite some time, and the property sits in an area that is park efficient. And then finally, development of phase 1 of a park at the recently acquired 70th and Monroe property. This is a property that sits in an area that's been identified in the 2025 system plan as a high priority for new investment because it's located in a park efficient area that also overlaps with an area of high community need. With this 2025 system plan to guide staff efforts, NCPRD is excited to bring the type of accessible and interactive play and spaces that were on display at the Concord Grand Opening Celebration to many other areas of the district. The plan will enable staff to make data-driven decisions about how best to use the district's limited resources in areas where investments are most needed. And should available funding become available in the future, this plan will aid staff in distributing those investments equitably across the district. Thank you, Chair Roberts and directors, for your time this evening and consideration of approval of the 2025 system plan for NCPRD. And I happily welcome any questions that you might have.
Great. Well, thank you. Directors, any comments, questions?
I'll just comment and just acknowledge what's already been said. Yeah, coming from the board is important, but attending all the NCPRD meetings, DAC meetings, and some of, not all, but a lot of the public meetings that were put out. It was a great effort. There was a lot of involvement from all sides, so it was pretty awesome. And just appreciate the good work y'all did. And the fact there's community buy-in on the product, the end product, it's important. And the words that are not in this particular master plan that were in the prior master plans were the words underserved and severely underserved. And we still have a lot of those areas that never even got any improvements. So, you know, I don't even want to call them phase 0. There's just properties just been acquired. Some that maybe got what might be called a phase 1, if you want to call it that. But there's certainly nothing to date that's gotten any more than the basics. And yet, as you said, there's just a lot of areas that are woefully deficient where no kids have nothing anywhere. So I'm glad it's spelled out there, and I'm looking forward to making progress over the years going forward. So colleagues, I strongly support or suggest we support this master plan as presented.
Well, with that being said, may I have a motion?
Chair, I move the approved final system plan as presented.
Commissioner Sells has moved to approve the final and system plan as presented by, sorry, Director Hill. And, any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, would you please call the roll?
Director Schrader. Director Helm. Director Savas.
Aye.
Mr. Chair. Motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Next item is also an action item. Approval of the updated District Advisory Committee bylaws. There's no fiscal impact. No county general funds are involved. Kia, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Gary. Good evening, Chair Roberts and directors. This evening, I'm pleased to present revisions to the NCPRD District Advisory Committee bylaws. In October of 2020, the board approved DAC bylaws, and in February of 2021, the board approved revised guidance for the nomination and the recruitment of DAC members that was actually developed by a task force of community members. Earlier this month, the board reviewed these revisions in a policy session. The 10 voting members of the DAC support these revisions, and in September voted unanimously in support of board approval. These revisions align the DAC bylaws with that 2021 board-approved policy guidance for recruitment and nomination of committee members. The DAC is made up of 2 members from each of the 5 sub-areas of the district, along with a member from the District Center Advisory Board, which is currently just the Milwaukee Community Center Advisory Board, and a non-voting board liaison, which is Director Savas. Building this initial committee was a very heavy lift, and the task force had a recommendation that outlined a robust and comprehensive recruitment and voting process, but they had the foresight to acknowledge that that process could change over time as the community needs change. So really, that's what we're bringing you today, are some of those changes. So there are 2 major areas of revisions to these bylaws, and then 3 minor areas that I'll cover. The first major area of revisions pertains to the nomination and the voting process in a few different ways. So it renames the committee of sub-area volunteers that are leading this charge as the nomination committee. It notes process coordination between the DAC chair and the DAC vice chair. It allows for just one nomination and voting meeting instead of 2. It allows meetings to be held virtually or hybrid, whichever works best. And lastly, the age of committee members is not restricted to those 18 years and older. And I do want to add here that, as directed at the policy session, NCPRD staff reached out to County Risk and asked if they had concerns about minors participating on the DAC. They do not, but they did advise that if a minor was appointed by the board to the DAC, that their guardian should fill out a waiver of some type. So in that event, if we do have a minor appointed to the DAC, NCPRD staff will work with County Council to develop the appropriate form. The second major area of revisions is entirely new and pertains to the concept of sub-area alternates. So this is exciting because this is both a response to the growing community interest in participating on the DAC. And it also reflects the practical reality that from time to time, DAC members are not able to attend a meeting or can't fulfill their term. And it is a 4-year term. So having an alternate approved for each of the 5 sub areas makes sense. And lastly, the 3 minor revisions, language has been added referencing the voter approved measure that was passed in 1990 for the formation of the district. And it notes that sub-area local control and representation was envisioned. Also, it clarifies that if a DAC member serves more than half their term, it's considered a full term served, and that community members can reapply for the DAC after a 2-year break instead of a 4-year break. Lastly, members can attend virtually if needed, although I will say that most members attend in person, and that's been really nice, I think, for building relationships and having good conversations. The DAC is forming a bylaws subcommittee that will focus on continuous process improvement, and they may bring bylaw modifications to the board on an annual basis. So this concludes my comments on these revisions, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Gary. Questions? Bertha?
I'll just make a comment, good work on the revisions, and as Kia kind of alluded to, if not directly. When the second community center gets on board and there's some representative of that will be written into the bylaws. On somewhat equal footing of sorts, so that'll be the revision I anticipate.
Thank you.
I think it speaks a lot that it was unanimous as well.
With that, may I have a motion?
I move we approve the proposed changes to the district advisory committee bylaws.
Second.
Director Schrader has moved to approve the proposed changes to the district advisory committee bylaws. Second, any discussion? None, seeing none, please call the poll.
Director Savas.
Aye.
Director Helm. Director Schrader. Mr. Chair. Motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
Next is a briefing, informational only, the status of district finances. Kia, go ahead, please.
Dear Roberts and directors, this evening, I'm pleased to brief you on the status of district finances. The last board briefing of this type was at your last quarterly board meeting on July 30th. This briefing is timely as NCPRD staff have started budget preparations for fiscal year 2026-27. On November 12th, staff will provide a similar briefing to the DAC as an official kickoff to budget preparation. The current fiscal year budget allocates resources for needed capital repairs, funds maintenance at 36 developed parks, 3 facilities, 7 natural areas, including the 6 miles of trolley trail, continues support for planned capital projects, allocates resources for recreation programs and events, and provides subsidy for Meals on Wheels and congregate meal services at the community center. I mention all of this because I want to make the point that despite the budget reductions that were implemented for the current fiscal year, NCPRD still offers robust services and programs to the community, maintains healthy and safe facilities, and is building for the future. I'm pleased to report that the 5th day of service at the Milwaukee Community Center, which was eliminated as a budget reduction in the current fiscal year budget, will be restored for the remainder of the current fiscal year with a generous donation from the Milwaukee Community Center Foundation. So thank you. This will also restore the Friday congregate meal, which provides nutritional and social benefits to older adults. And again, I just want to sincerely thank the Milwaukee Community Center Foundation for their ongoing support and dedication to the center.
Thank you.
Also, you will recall that the transportation program that provides transportation to and from the Milwaukee Community Center will be eliminated as of December 31st due to a budget reduction. Many users of this program are now registered with the TriMet Lift Service for County Transportation Reaching People Program, TRP. And I will also say that H3S, County Health and Human Services, is also working on a pilot program that could provide transportation to Milwaukee Community Center and back to residences for some community members. And NCPRD staff are also continuing discussions with a regional transportation provider and a local nonprofit regarding an ongoing program that could serve even more riders. So a lot of work is underway to make sure that we provide transportation to those users that are currently using the program. I will report back to you when these discussions have concluded and we have a final solution in place. Currently, NCPRD revenues and expenses are tracking with the approved fiscal year budget, and there are no indications of any unforeseen financial challenges for the current fiscal year. Our annual audit is currently underway and will be published in early November. Looking at the financial forecast, you will see that there continues to be a funding gap between our projected revenue and our expenses, as expenses continue to outpace revenue largely due to inflation. NCPRD's largest source of general fund revenue is from a fixed permanent tax rate of 54 cents per thousand of assessed value. The district does not receive any county general funds, and the tax rate has not increased since the district was formed in 1990. It's the lowest tax rate of the 5 park and rec districts in the state of Oregon. For fiscal year 2026-27, NCPRD staff are preparing to reduce expenses as well as identify new sources of revenue to address a forecasted funding gap of $622,000. We are actively discussing new revenue opportunities with community partners for programs at both the Milwaukee Community Center and the Concord Community Center. I expect to share specifics with you early next year. At the Milwaukee Community Center, our goal is to maintain our current level of service for nutrition services. And at the Concord Community Center, our goal is to maintain free drop-in access. Having community partners that are willing to invest in our programs and services is a vote of confidence in NCPRD, and we are deeply appreciative of their dedication and their financial support. The other side of the coin, reducing expenses, it's the other way to close the funding gap, and we will identify budget efficiencies to the extent possible and allocate our limited resources to programs and services that most closely align with our mission of parks and recreation. Our intent will be to allocate our limited resources for a sustainable and stable future with continued investment in maintenance and repairs for our parks and facilities, caring for what we have as a continued priority. For those program reductions that are not closely aligned with our mission, we will continue to do our very best to identify partners that can assume those responsibilities to maintain continuity of service for impacted community members. Looking beyond next fiscal year, our forecast indicates a significant funding shortfall as of fiscal year 2031-32. At that point, we would not be able to maintain reserve and contingency requirements. And again, this is based on a forecast. This means that we need to continue to be disciplined about balancing expenditures with revenue so as not to accelerate the shortfall. This forecasted shortfall and the ongoing budget reduction process, along with increasing needs and wants within the community, underscores the urgency of exploring options for additional general fund revenue, which we will discuss later this evening. Although these challenges are ahead, the district is well positioned to be a financially sustainable organization by its 40th anniversary if we are able to harness the enthusiasm and support of the community to generate more general fund revenue. The system plan documents this demand and excitement, but the most recent example, which has been mentioned a few times tonight, is what we all experienced a few weeks ago at the Concord Park and Community Center grand opening that drew over 2,000 community members. This concludes my remarks, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to thank Chiaselli, Director Chiaselli, for all her work, and I know that we're trying to refine numbers all the time to get a better idea of what part of the district is costing us more versus other parts of the district that's costing us less, and also balance that what the system plan was trying to do, and that is ultimately have equitable service and access to parks. I know we're a long ways from that. But nonetheless, last year when I asked you this question, I was asked how much do we think is red? And I think the projection budget was somewhere between 800 and about $1.5 million. We closed some of that gap in the budget cycle in May, and now you have 622,000 more to cut to get us and keep us in the black. So it's dire news when we know we're cutting services. I realize that, so I'm hoping that we get a lot of input from our district advisory committee on what we think our priorities are, and try to tease out of that where we might find some savings or find some reductions. So I'm hopeful. I was listening intently to the comments earlier, public comments. And just want to say that you look real hard at the map. I just hope that people recognize that the health of the district is at stake here. It's been at stake for a long time. This is not a new problem. This has been a problem that was identified years ago, way before I ever got here. Two of the DAB members, the DAC, but before that was the DAB, telling me that the district has to go up for a tax rate. That was in 2003. They can't, I see. Joel shaking his head. This has been a long time problem. There's nothing new here. And as we constantly bleed our funds and spend them on projects, on programming, and services to maintain what we have, we are just dipping and dipping and dipping. And now we're at that point where we cross the line. So now we've got to turn that around. So I appreciate all the good work, and I'm hoping to have some daylight as to what the ideas are for reductions and so forth in district court coming months. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no other questions, thank you here for the update. So we'll move on, Gary.
Thank you. The last discussion item is also an action, action item. Approval of procurement of consulting services to develop funding strategy for district financial stability and implementation of the 2025 system plan recommendations. The total value is not to exceed $159,000. Funding is through North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District general funds. No county general funds are involved. Kia, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Gary. Chair Roberts and directors, thank you for this opportunity to request board approval to procure consulting services for preparation of a funding strategy that will provide financial stability as well as the ability to address the growing needs and wants of the community. At the July quarterly board meeting and earlier tonight, the board was briefed on the key financial challenge facing the district today, which is expenses are outpacing revenues largely due to inflation. Over the past few years, expenses have increased by an estimated 11%, while NCPRD's largest source of general fund revenue has grown by 3%. General fund revenue can be used for the broadest range of district expenses, from operations and maintenance to capital repair and replacement to recreation services. And as you're aware, NCPRD's largest source of general fund revenue is generated through our fixed permanent tax rate that has not increased since the district was formed in 1990. Again, NCPRD's tax rate is the lowest of any parks tax rate in the state of Oregon. And the resulting revenue is less than half the funding available to other park and rec districts in the region. Additional revenue is needed to maintain status quo and avoid year-over-year budget reductions and to remain financially solvent long-term. We heard during the system plan engagement that residents value NCPRD's offerings, meeting the demand for parks, facilities, programs, and events that residents value will require additional funding. So this consulting scope of services is anticipated to have three major work areas. One, preparation of funding scenarios and corresponding millage rates. From the funding needed, again, to maintain the current service level over time, to funding scenarios that would be necessary to address growing community needs and wants. The second major work activity is really to inform and engage district residents about the current state of district finances, as well as to receive their specific input on the proposed funding scenarios. And lastly, we need to collect data on community preferences for these proposed funding scenarios through polling, but also through other survey methods to help inform the consulting work and to bring that data back to the board for your decision making. The board and the district advisory committee will be kept informed at key junctures throughout the entire process. The ultimate goal of this work will be to identify a funding scenario that has the highest potential for broad community support, but as important, provides long-term financial stability and sustainability for the district. So this concludes my remarks. I'm happy to take any questions.
Questions? All right, you have a motion?
I move we approve the procurement of consulting services as proposed.
Second.
Director Helmut moved to approve the procurement of consulting services as proposed. Director Schrader seconded, and include the discussion. Seeing none, clerk, would you please call the roll?
Director Savas.
Aye.
Director Helm. Director Schrader. Mr. Chair. Motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Next is the consent agenda. Andrew, would you please read the consent agenda?
Consent agenda for the North Clackamas Parks Recreation District Board of Directors. Item A, approval of meeting minutes from July 30th, 2025, North Clackamas Parks Recreation District Board meeting. Mr. Chair, that concludes the consent agenda.
Yes, they read. So thank you. Great job. Colleagues, would you wish to remove any consent agenda item? They have a motion.
Chair, I move we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Director Helmut moved to approve the consent agenda. Director Schrader is second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, would you please call the roll?
Director Schrader. Director Savas. Director Helm. Mr. Chair. Motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Next is District Administrator and District Director update. I'll start. We had an incredible event 2 weeks ago, which we've talked about many times tonight, which was the grand opening of the Concord Park and Community Center. Literally decades in the making, and we got the job done. Thank you to the Board of Directors, Kia, you and your staff, and the many community members, many of whom are here tonight. You made it happen. Thank you. An incredible achievement that we can be proud of for decades to come. So thank you, Board, for your leadership, and Kia, you and your staff, and all of you in the community. Kia, over to you.
Thank you. Well, tonight I have the pleasure to introduce two staff people. One actually is here in the audience. Eric Brill, would you please just raise your hand or stand up? So Eric Brill is our new Parks and Facilities Maintenance Division Director. He recently came to us from Mercy Corps. He has extensive experience and just a great way of connecting with people in the community and the staff, and we are so excited to have him. So thank you for being here, Eric. If you'd like to share a couple of words about yourself, please go welcome.
Yeah, I'm so honored to be in this role and part of the work that NCPRD is doing. I come with a lot of experience in nonprofit work and serving the community, and this will be a new way to serve the community, certainly in the NCPRD side, but I'm super excited about the work and have already heard so many good things, and the staff has been great, and appreciate you all and your time, and thanks for having me here.
Thank you, Eric. Second new staff person that I'd like to introduce, I believe is online, so he's not here tonight, but his name is Todd Wheeler. He is the new aquatics manager, working of course at the North Clackamas Aquatic Park. So if you see him, please introduce yourself, and we are very pleased to have him on board as well.
Thank you. Anything else, Gary?
Nope. Anything else, Kia? Thank you, Chair. The last item tonight is board communications. Over to you, Chair.
All right, thank you. And I'm going to start with Director Schrader.
Yeah, I'd like to make a few comments because I was there at the Concord opening. It was phenomenal. 2,000 people, beautiful, gorgeous library, and it's regional. So people from Milwaukee were there, people from West there, everyone was there together. And it was a great experience because, as many of you know, I was a school librarian, so my heart is full with libraries. But I also have to let you know, I've been here a while. So I was also here when we built the Milwaukee, softball park. So all of that we saw here was not there. And we built it at the time, so it would become a center for softball players, for the whole district. And that they could have tournaments there and the open space. The other thing we did back in the day, when you go out where the area, sitting out area is there and all the beautiful trees, that park structure that's there was also something else, that we did and we built and maintained it. And so my attitude is that if it's regional, kids from anywhere, whether it's from the unincorporated area or whether it's from the incorporated area, have a chance to use and facilitate those structures and what we need to do for each other. So I've been lucky enough to be around enough to see things that we're doing, what we did in the past, what we've done now recently, and where we can go in the future. And I think I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think the solution, there's two possible solutions to what we've been dealing with now, with the issues that we're having. One is to separate and become two separate districts, one under the umbrella of the city, the one under the umbrella of the incorporated area, if that's what people choose to do. That would make me very sad. And the reason it would make me sad is because I saw throughout these many years I've been here, what we can do together, okay? So my preference would be, to stay together. However, in my opinion, as somebody who's had longevity here, we would really have to get certainty from our friends, our city friends of Milwaukee, that they would be willing to stay a member of the district. And not only that, that together we would work to raise the millage rate. So the whole district would benefit. And I think that would go a long way. That would be my wish, if I could wave my magic wand. And so please give us the space to continue to speak. Let us see if we can get through this. But right now, we're looking at two potential different pathways. But at this point, I think, again, please, Milwaukee folks, because I know that we want to continue to do good things for you. We need the certainty that the district remains whole. If the city wants to be its own entity, they can do that. I think personally it's better if we can stay together, but that's the crux of the matter, in my opinion, as a longstanding commissioner, that we need that commitment with our city friends and partners to make sure that they will remain as partners in the district. So we can get a levy passed so everybody gets what they need. That's what I think the solution is. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong, but my gut tells me in this sense, I think it would be right. So please talk to your city councilors and our city partners, talk to Mayor Beatty, and give us the assurance that we can remain together and whole together. To me, that's what I think the real holdup is with this, sincerely and truthfully. So that's all I have to say. I hope we can do that, because we're better together rather than apart, but we could do it apart. And then we wouldn't have this issue of crossing the border over into unincorporated, crossing the border over here. I've never quite understood that, because we're really serving in the end, whether you're in the city or the unincorporated area, all the same people, right? We're all one community, whether or not you're under the umbrella of the city or the umbrella of the county. So let's just work towards that if we can. Separate's a possibility. Together, I think, is still a better option, but that is really going to be up to how things move forward in our discussions. So thank you for coming tonight and letting me remember what we have done well. And thank you, unincorporated area, because we really did just give you, I think we worked hard to make sure that you were getting your fair share. And you know what I always say, Tom? You never go wrong when you build a library. So, thank you. That's all I got today.
Thank you.
You're back.
Commissioner Saps.
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to talk about the grand opening. I've been on the commission or the NCPRD board as a director and liaison for 15 years, and I've cut a lot of ribbons for a lot of park facilities in 15 years, and they have been in cities. This was the first one where we actually cut a ribbon on a real park, and in the unincorporated areas, since I've been a director of this district. So it was a special moment, and you know, I voted for the district in 1990. I've lived in this area longer, you know, since the early 80s. And I will, you know, I paid my fair share of taxes along that way, but I do remember what the promises were. And maybe I would say that indeed, with the exception of one particular facility that we fulfilled those promises for the Oak Grove area, but not for the other sub areas. Other sub areas are still hurting, and they have very little. I think I took some of my colleagues on little drives. I took Commissioner Helm on a drive in the Jenny's Lodge area, and I showed her what was there. It's pretty sad. Not much. So we're making progress. So I think that we can be able to do that solely on grants, and the staff are doing a great job. Kudos to staff for all the great work you've done in trying to get the resources and utilize grants. So again, thanks for that big project. I know there's a lot of staff that played a role in that that are not here tonight, but everyone just kudos for doing great work. I heard some things tonight. I'm not gonna beat up anyone or beat up anything, but there's a couple corrections or I guess information I just wanted to share. Some of you may have been here September 18th of 2024. There's a recording of it. But we sat in the Aquatic Center for a board of directors meeting in September 18th of 2024 last year. It's still over a year ago. In which I laid out where we were with Milwaukee Bay Park. And it's very detailed, very factual. Ran by staff, everything there. And maybe it's time for another one. Another factual update that gives a timeline of how we are, where we are. The board has been working with the principle of working, number one, with confidentiality in our negotiations. And also with the principle of working in good faith, and that we want to see progress as a board. Those are that's the principles we've been acting on. Unfortunately, I would say that every proposal, despite someone mentioning that we had some mutual agreement at some point, not really. No, we didn't. Every agreement that was put forth was rejected, unfortunately. Hopefully, maybe we can still work. We're still working on it. We haven't given up. We're still working on it. And maybe we can get somewhere. But we agreed on confidentiality. And there were things that were revealed in the October 21st meeting that I think question whether or not we're working in good faith or whether or not we're working in confidentiality. There were substantial omissions in that meeting. Substantial omissions. And so same goes a letter, substantial omissions. That's the nicest word I can use, frankly. But I do want to say that there has been, as long as I've been around, there's been a funding requirement, a funding gap to fund Milwaukee Bay Park. It's been there for a long time. It's only grown. Yeah, the grants timed out, but those grants are retrievable. We can actually apply for them again, and our staff have assured us that those grants are retrievable. So they're not lost. We never received the monies. We had to actually act on and have all those agreements signed. But at the end of the day, all three agreements were never signed. That's why this project has been delayed. So we again hope that we can get somewhere, but I can understand everyone's dismay and despair over the information you have, but the information you have is not complete. Yep, we pay taxes, we all do. And I think when you look at the tax rates who pay taxes, I think you'll find that the unincorporated area has been subsidizing the city of Milwaukee for a long time. And that subsidy is growing year by year. So I appreciate all of you, and I don't disagree with anything Martha said. The idea of a divorce was not our idea. The idea of a separation was not our idea. We've heard for years now that members of the council, not all of them, and never made a decision, but we've heard for a long time they want out. The opening statement in the last court proceeding on the appeal, the first thing the Milwaukee attorney said was, city of Milwaukee wants to leave the district. So therefore, we have to have an agreement that protects the district and the assets. That's our responsibility. It's not the city of Milwaukee's responsibility. It's the district's responsibility. We are sworn in to uphold all the laws and rules and statutes. And that agreement we currently have, we're trying to update, is get that to comport with state law and a lot of other details. So I'm not revealing anything that is confidential, but I'm being very careful to honor that agreement of confidentiality, even though I think it was violated. Chair, that's all I have for tonight.
Director Hill.
Wow. Well, I want to go back to the Concord Park and, again, well, because I haven't had the privilege to go through this whole, because I'm too new to have had the experience of putting it together. But to go to that grand opening, one word describes that day, I think, for everyone there, and that was joy. And joy, not just from the kids playing on the playground, joy from the people who helped put it together, joy for anyone who participated, joy for the people who were there for the very first time. It was a very heartwarming day, and I was pleased to be a part of it, and it was fun to cut my first ribbon, so hopefully of you, I don't know. And then going back, because I'm new, I've been trying to wrap my head around this whole NCPRD Milwaukee thing since I walked in the door the 1st of June. I was a business owner for 18 years in Damascus, and so I come at it from a very mathematical standpoint, P&Ls, money, how do you pay for things, you gotta cut here, you gotta cut there. Very dispassionate. When I fired people, you know, it was a 3-minute thing. I'm sorry, this is not working for you or for me. This is how life works. This is business, right? Sometimes they'd hug me and say thank you and go on their merry way. But I've been trying to figure out this whole thing since I've been here. I'm not sure I still have it figured out. But what I will say is that there's a pot of money, and the pot of money hasn't gotten any bigger. It's gotten much smaller. The Milwaukee Bay project, that was, I hear the word promised a lot, but I don't know what that means in real life. But in 2017, then when COVID happened and all the costs went up exponentially, I've heard that we could never fill the funding gap. And then it went up so much that it's like, how do you even do this? So how do you pay for something you don't have money for? That's my, you know, Kia does this every day, right? So I have just been trying to figure out how this works. I don't like contention. I'd like to be a bridge builder. I'd like to find a way to resolve this. I feel there's a resolution to every problem out there. And I think the way to resolve things is compromise and coming to the table and being honest and being transparent. And I haven't seen that yet. I hope to still. But I also think that there's some healing to do as we go through this process. And I would like to see a great resolution, but and I will say I went through a divorce in 2019. Not a fun experience. Took a long time. We, you know, separated our assets and we went on our separate ways, and we're both in better places, and we're both doing fine. And I see this as a marriage between NCPRD and Milwaukee, and is it a salvageable marriage? That's what I want to know. Is there any amount of marriage counseling that's gonna fix it? With mine, there wasn't, but because the other party didn't want to fix it. So we need both parties at the table to work this through. So if I can help in that way, I would love to, but I also, I need honesty and transparency. And I don't like people undermining kind of the work that we're doing. So I'll leave it at that, Chair, and go back to you.
I don't say wow.
Sorry.
So I'm up. All right, it's on deck. The first thing I want to say is I believe so much in being a good listener. It all starts there. I want you to know I'm listening intently. And I do want to make it very clear that I hear your concerns. I also hear your frustrations. This has been going on for years, right? And I'm the optimistic guy, always trying to find common ground, trying to find solutions, and trying to look at it as, okay, there's been some bad water under the bridge. Let's look forward, right? Let's figure out how we can make this happen. For the community that we serve, they expect that, right? To really come up and solve these difficult problems. And I just want to tell you, I see your vision. I see that Milwaukee Bay Park benefits people in the unincorporated area, it benefits people in the city. And you all know when we came here tonight, could you hear the kids next door? I was like, oh man, I love that, right? And all the people outside, I love that. I mean, I coach youth sports. I love to hear that crazy noise, right? Of activities and fun, it keeps everybody healthy. And I see the vision of how this can just be this golden location for so many people that have the benefit of it, right? And I want to help make that happen with all of you. I think that I'd strongly encourage you to do this. Let's go out to St. Helens, Halloween Town, right? They did a development on the waterfront in St. Helens, and I was just there, shut the whole street down. I mean, there had to be several thousand people there. I mean, it was just really wonderful. A lot of just great events that brought the community together. And it really was a collaboration from young to old, right? And that's really what it's all about. And I think that I just want to tell you a story. I was, and I told some of my colleagues this is, my friend lives in an incorporated area, we're on a bike ride, we come down the deal. And guess where we're riding? Right through Milwaukee Park, right? And as we're riding through, he goes, hey, what's the deal with the park, right? And I go, well, let's look up and say, we didn't stop, we looked at it. And I said, no, you know what? It has been. Right? And he's really a big music guy and sees the vision of music down there, and he wants to see that happen. So I hear and see that, right? So I think what's so important is we've got to continue to come to the table and work hard to find that common ground solution. And I'm confident we can do this. So I want to most importantly say, I hear and sense your frustration. A lot of details aren't discussed here for a number of reasons, but I would just say that you, one of you individuals said it, I think it was, who said determination? Yes, I like that. It's being determined, and to continue to come to the table, to continue to drive forward, to kind of find that solution and calm down. I'm confident. So I'm just saying, let's continue to do that. And I want to come back. I also want to close the pot, the community center that Concord. But I do also want to recognize, just to acknowledge this, we are in horrible economic time. And I follow a lot of polling, I follow a lot of input from citizens. People are struggling right now financially. Groceries are off the chart. I mean, oh my gosh, drive through Burger King and it's $7 for 3 little pieces of chicken. Are you kidding me? So it is incredibly expensive right now, and we're really facing a lot of tough times. We're working really hard financially on the whole overall county general budget. Q is working on this. And this is where really, it's really sometimes takes outside the box thinking. I survived 2009, 10, 11 downturn in the economy and our huge cuts to the county. I've been through there. I know we can do it. You know, it's a time where we have to really, it's important to come together, you know, to find these common grounds and solutions. And we might not be able to build the, you know, the total dream, but you know what? We're going to get there. And maybe it's a phased approach. So in last kind of comment I just want to make, and that is, you also have, it's easy to go forward and not recognize your successes. It's easy to get on to the next project. I'm great. And that's where really I want to thank Kia, and I want to thank everybody that worked on the library and the Concord Community Center. I mean, that is a huge accomplishment that will really last, honestly, generations to come. It will be an impact in the community that will all benefit for years. And lastly, I just want to give another shout out to the Milwaukee Community Center Foundation. I mean, thank you, thank you, thank you. And, you know, coming together, and we are right now trying to do something similar. It's on the SNAP fund. I mean, Milwaukee Service Center, 9,000 meals a month. That's before the cut in the SNAP fund, right? And right now, our goal is to really do some emergency funding to kind of meet those people where they're at. So we're really working hard. We're all kind of being creative together. And I think most important is we have to keep talking, right? And I would just encourage us to keep coming back to the table and we'll find that solution. So with that, I probably got enough. I just want to thank everybody for coming. I value your input. And we will go and conclude tonight's North Clackamas Parks and Rec District Board of Directors meeting. And again, thank you all for joining us.